Good morning, fellow Hoops fans. Welcome back to another episode of the Last Shot NBA show right here on Little Birdie TV, brought to you by our great mates at topsport.com.au. Friday morning, we've got a hell of a lot to talk about because the NBA season is in full swing. We've had a few games yesterday. Obviously, we had the two on opening night the other night. And of course, we're going to bring back old mate Benyam Kidane to break it all down for us. BK, my man, how's it going?
I'm doing good, my brother. We're 2 days in, but the the storylines are already unfolding after a couple of days of hoop.
Yeah, they certainly are, and that's the beauty of the NBA, mate. We've spoken about it many times. It just seems to be a 24/7 news cycle. The news never ends. We've got a lot to talk about, BK. We're going to get straight into it. And before we get into our first, topic of conversation, I do want to quantify this by saying, yes, I know we've only played one game for the most part for most teams. Some teams still yet to play their first game. So, everything here, you take it with a grain of salt, right, BK? Because I wanted to ask you, first of all, who's impressed you over the first 2 days of the NBA season? Who's impressed you the most?
Well, who's impressed me the most? It's time for some wild overreactions. The Utah Jazz are coming for the title.
BK, let me just stop you right there. No, they're not.
If the title is Victor Wembanyama, then yes. But shout out to the Utah Jazz. They beat the Denver Nuggets. I mean, I thought the Jazz were going to win 5 games this year. This was not a great team on paper, but they showed a lot of fight against that Denver team. And, they got some guys. Colin Sexton's got a lot to prove. They've got guys out there, especially some of the younger guys that have been given an opportunity to do their thing, and they're taking it. It's one game, but here we are.
Yeah, look, I get what you're saying because, I was looking at the Jazz. Obviously, they made a lot of moves, getting rid of Rudy Gobert, getting rid of a lot of guys in the offseason, and it just seemed that they seem to have more assets than did actual players this season. So I didn't have high hopes for them, but I do expect them to level out. Again, it's only one game. I get it, guys. It's only one game. I expect the Utah Jazz to be right around where they deserve to be by the end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. But in terms of first game overreactions, I'll give my most impressive team to the Utah Jazz, mostly based on their preseason expectations. But I think with the guys that they have on this roster, a lot of these guys probably wouldn't be there, probably by the trade deadline. A lot of these older veteran guys that will probably end up on contending teams. But they got some spunky young guys that are going to get a lot of minutes and score a lot of points this season.
BK, I like your train of thought. I like the logic behind it. I like that you went with kind of, outside sort of left of field, left of center type pick there with the Jazz. I'm going to go a little bit more sort of straight down the line, right? And I'm going to go with the New Orleans Pelicans. And again, based off one game, I thought they were super impressive yesterday in absolutely dismantling the I was going to call them New Jersey Nets, the Brooklyn Nets at the Barclays Center. Now, there is high hopes for the Pelicans, especially on my behalf, BK. I tweeted this out yesterday. I've said it preseason as well. If they're fully healthy, and when we say fully healthy, we're talking about Zion Williamson for the whole season. If they're fully healthy, I think they're a top 4 seed in the Western Conference. If you look at it yesterday, they had 31 assists, BK, as a team. The ball was moving. Zion was looking good. My man had 25 points, 9 rebounds, 4 steals, 3 assists. 22 of his 25 points, BK, were in the paint. Now, if we saw him, he was going up against Ben Simmons quite a bit. And Ben Simmons is maybe a couple of inches taller than him at 6'10". I think Zion's about 6'7", 6'8". But Zion's got a good 20 kilos easy on Ben Simmons, and he was making him look like a little boy down there in the paint. Brandon Ingram had a fantastic game. His footwork, BK, is amazing, isn't it? Like, I was looking at his footwork, and I was like, it was kind of Kobe-esque, wasn't it?
Yeah, just a little bit, and more so at that size. B.I.'s a big dude. He can shoot over the top of a lot of people. I'm with you. I'm really impressed by this Pelicans team. I expected them to be good again this season. They've improved their roster. They've got a lot of young guys that impressed us last season. Guys like Herb Jones, Alvarado.
Yep.
So the depth on this team is really impressive as well. But it really is that big three of Ingram, CJ McCollum, and Zion Williamson, who. It's just great to see Zion back on the floor. It's been a minute since we've seen Zion doing his thing, and it's crazy. You can't kind of forget just how strong this dude is. Like, he was wreaking havoc in the paint. The Nets didn't really have an answer. Simmons leaving on anyone in the paint. They dominated the offensive glass. The second chance opportunities, like, they were just making the Nets pay for every little mistake. And Zion was at the heart of that.
And last time Zion played, close to a full season, he was super efficient from the field as well. I think it was 60-something% from the field. Back to BI for a second, Brandon Ingram. He had 28 points yesterday. Again, we've touched on how super versatile he is. We mentioned the footwork as well. After the game, CJ McCollum had some pretty high praise for Brandon Ingram as well. And let's have a listen to what he said.
He's a monster, man. He's very skilled. He's very polished. I think Kay talked about him, before the game, saying he hasn't seen anyone like him. He's got the throw out. He got the long sleeves going. Like, he looks like a retro player, but his game is very new era. In terms of his ability to score at 3 levels, he can shoot off the bounce. He's added the 3-pointer. I told him he needs to shoot more threes, getting to the free throw line, and he's a good passer and has a great sense of basketball IQ in terms of spacing, knowing where guys are at. And I think tonight you got to see a little bit of everything. And throughout the season, you'll just see him continue to make leaps because he's a basketball junkie.
High praise there from CJ McCollum for old mate Brandon Ingram. Now, we're going to quickly touch on a guy that didn't have such a great game yesterday. Unfortunately, that is Australian Ben Simmons. I said on our previous 2 shows, you agreed. I think Parky agreed as well that we thought he was going to have a great season this year. Hasn't started off that great for Ben Simmons. At times, it looked like he was going half speed out there, BK. He finished with 4 points on just 2 of 3 shooting. He had 5 assists, 5 rebounds, 3 turnovers, and did foul out early in that fourth quarter. Post-game, Ben Simmons said, I got to tone it down. I feel like I'm being a little too physical, a little bit too over the top. Maybe I'm just excited. It's my first game. I think I was just too excited, honestly. BK, can we just put that one down to nerves yesterday?
Yeah, probably. It's his first game that meant anything in a long time. I think it's nearly 16 months since that Hawks series in the season prior to last. So it was never going to be a thing where it happened straight away for the Nets. It's not just Simmons. They got a lot of other new pieces on this roster as well. But even still, the core of that team, in Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, has been there for a minute, but they just looked very disjointed offensively. And I think that was the hard thing for Simmons, was trying to find his place in the offense. He started as the lead guard, but he was really more effective as a screener, working with Kyrie in the pick and roll at times, Kevin Durant as well. And the playmaking is still there, getting out in transition. But yeah, it's in the half court trying to work out exactly how to utilize Ben Simmons. That's going to be the big one for Steve Nash.
Yeah, and that's something that I've questioned as well. We spoke about it the other day again. Steve Nash, some of his in-game decisions and his in-game tactics, over the last couple of seasons have been questionable at best. So I'm actually very curious to see how he adjusts now and figures out a way to use Ben Simmons. Do you think he's capable of doing that, BK?
I mean, we've seen it in the past, how Simmons can work in the pick and roll as a screener. He's 6'10", he has the size, plus he has the playmaking and passing ability. So we saw some flashes of that yesterday, but again, it's hard if he's the point guard. Does Kyrie have the ball in his hands? How they kind of work out that half court situation, that's going to be the big thing. But I'm still confident. These are still 3 terrific players that the Nets have as their foundation. So it's 81 more games to go. There's a lot more basketball to play.
Yeah, and like I keep saying, man, these early season losses, they don't mean a thing when you get down to April, May, and June. That's when you got to start worrying about winning games, not in October and November. All right, BK, let's move on to another team that I've actually been pretty high on over the last couple of seasons, and that's the Phoenix Suns. Last year, they did have the best regular season record. I thought they were the best team throughout the regular season. I thought they could maybe do it and potentially win a championship last year. Obviously, they didn't. They had an impressive come-from-behind win yesterday against the Dallas Mavericks. They were down 22 points at one stage at home, but then in that sort of late or mid to third quarter to early fourth there, they really sort of kicked it up a notch. And then especially in the last few minutes of the game, they outscored the Mavs 27-12 in the last 7 minutes of the game to end up winning that one there. You don't want to read too much into the sort of the preseason or even regular season games like we just mentioned, but I look at the Suns, right? And obviously they had that loss to the Adelaide 36ers. They were a little bit shaky yesterday. They're still a very good team, BK, for me, and I still enjoy watching them play. but I wonder whether their championship window has closed, because I look at that squad and I don't know if they got any better in the offseason, whereas I think some of the other teams in the West did.
Yeah, I think that's the issue with the Suns is not necessarily they're kind of the same team, but the Western Conference has gotten a lot better. Just from guys coming back. Jamal Murray's back with the Nuggets. Obviously, Kawhi and PG are back with the Clippers. So they're two teams that are, automatically going to be right there contending at the top. But I mean, I still think the Suns have something here. I mean, they were one of the best clutch teams last season. I think they were like 33-9 in clutch situations. So they know how to close out games. Obviously with Chris Paul and Devin Booker, who was terrific in that fourth quarter. Shout out to Damian Lee as well, coming over from Golden State, hitting that game winner. I think the Suns will still be good this year, but I think just the fact that the field has kind of either caught up or expanded maybe kind of makes things a little tougher for them this go round.
I think they've got to work on their defense a little bit too, because especially in that first half, they were struggling to contain the Mavs getting into the paint. Like the Mavs were just getting there at will, and then they switched to a zone at one point to sort of try and limit the damage, I guess. But you mentioned, being clutch, and obviously we know CP3 is being clutch his whole career. I'm curious to see what's going to happen with the DeAndre situation. DeAndre Ayton, that is. I know he signed that contract extension in the offseason, but there's still talk that he may get moved at the trade deadline. But yeah, look, I don't know. I'm never going to completely write off CP3, because especially what he's done in the latter stages of his career, once he went to OKC and obviously now coming back to Phoenix for the last 2-3 seasons, he's proved that even at his age, he still gets the job done. So I'm not willing to write him off just yet, but I just think that championship window is shrinking, and I think it's shrinking fast.
I don't disagree with you. I still like this Suns team, but Devin Booker, I mean, last night we saw, what he was capable of in that fourth quarter. I think he had like 6 assists and 7 points. And it's how much of a leap does he take again this season? Because if Devin Booker improves, again this season, that now we're starting to put him up in the MVP conversation. Yeah. So if he kind of takes that lead for the Suns, then I think they could be okay. But yeah, as I said, it's the rest of the field in the West that kind of makes the Suns kind of come back down to earth a little bit. But they're still a great team. They're going to win a lot of games again this season. But yeah, I think for them, especially the way they went out last year like against the Dallas Mavericks, last night's win meant a lot to them.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, I guess, a small sort of semblance of revenge for them. But yeah, again, regular season wins in October don't mean anything if you're going to be losing to the Mavericks come playoff time. All right, BK, we're going to let you go. We know you've got a busy day ahead of you, my man. We'll catch you on Monday morning.
I appreciate you, my brother.
All right, time to bring on our resident betting expert, Mr. Two-time NBL champion, the Magic Man himself, Mr. Andrew Parkinson. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, thanks, Nick. It's been great to have the NBA back, and we did okay with our picks on the Wednesday show. So we've got a few more today with a couple of pretty important games.
Parky, refresh my memory, because I know I went 1 of 2 the other day. Did you go 2 of 2?
I went 2 of 3.
2 of 3, that's right.
We bit differed in the Sixers Celtics game. Yeah, you took the Celtics -3, and I took the Sixers +3, and we know that the Celtics won easily by 9. So that one went your way. So I can't wait for your tipping package to come out, mate. I'm going to start paying some money for those tips.
I'm charging top dollar, Parky.
You're doing well, but no, the game, and that's why I'm wearing the Warriors shirt tonight, because Steph came through for me. The Warriors covered that spread. It was 6, and then I think by game time it was 7.5. So they won by 14, so they covered that spread pretty easy, even though the Lakers did sort of have a bit of a comeback in that second half. And more importantly, the one that I really liked was the over 225, and there was 232 points scored. And that was thanks to a big last quarter from both teams. They scored, I think it was above 60 points in that last quarter. So it was a good start. We're 2 from 3. And not only that, our rookie of the year pick, Paolo Banchero. I mean, he showed that he's a grown man. And I think it's the first time a rookie in their first ever NBA game has scored 25, 5 and 5, or at least 25, 5 and 5 since LeBron, a guy called LeBron James. So I think that was a pretty good tip we gave the other day. I think he was 325 for Rookie of the Year. And I'm pretty sure that's if he stays healthy, I think he's just a lock for that.
You're absolutely right, Pikey. I think if there's a sure thing in any of our predictions this season, I think that Rookie of the Year one, like you mentioned, I think if Banchero stays healthy, just give him the award from now because I think he's going to be absolutely fantastic. We've got 2 games on the schedule today, Parky. We've got the Bucks and the 76ers, and then the Clippers at the Lakers. The Bucks and the 76ers is the early game, 10:30 a.m. tip-off, and the 76ers are the favourites here, $1.58. The Bucks paying $2.46. The line is at -4. Totals at 224.5. This one's going to be live on NBA League Pass. Parky, are you surprised that the Sixers are favourites here?
No, I'm not. In fact, I'm going to have another go at the 76ers. My pick for this game is the Sixers -4. I just think that playing at home, look, they got the cobwebs out in Boston in that first game. And look, I thought their offense wasn't too bad. They shot at 50%. The only problem with that game was that the Celtics shot at 56.1%. So that wasn't great defense. So I don't see that, that happening today with the Bucks. I don't think the Bucks, they're definitely not at full strength. So I think, they can definitely sort of take care of the Bucks at home. And the other point I think I want to make with this home game is that role players generally play better at home. That's generally the theory in the NBA. And as we saw on Wednesday, the role players for the 76ers didn't do much at all. So I've got a feeling today the role players are going to be into it. They're going to be at home. They're going to be desperate for this win. The Bucks are coming in, even though the Bucks are my pick for the championship. I just think they're going to have a bit of a struggle early on in the season. So I like the Bucks in this one. The Sixers in this one to cover the 4, but I also like the under. It was 225.5, but a lot of money has come for it. And I think it's settled at about 224.5, but I still like the under in that game because, I just think that, I think with the Bucks, 10 of their last 12 games has gone under. So they're a bit of an under team as well. So they're the 2 picks for that game. Do you like anything in that game, Nick?
Yeah, look, I'm actually going to go with the opposite of you, Parky. I'm going the Bucks to win. I think Giannis, having that great summer with the Greek national team, he's focused, he's prepared. He's ready to have a big season and really sort of stamp his authority on the NBA season as well. I think they're going to win today. I'm not high on the 76ers at all this season. I thought Harden played pretty good the other day. Embiid had a good game as well, but I'm not high on them at all. I really don't see them as a genuine threat in the Eastern Conference. I think they're going to start the season 0-2. And I'm even going to be a little bit specific here, Parky. I think the Bucks win by 8 points today.
There you go. So you're taking a bit of a piece of that $2.46. That's nice and juicy.
Yep. I think look, a Greek man never loses on opening night most of the time.
Well, they've got the Greek freak. They've got Giannis, but still no Middleton, and
no.
I think Connaughton's still out. I think they're starting with Grayson Allen, but we'll see how it goes. We'll discuss this on Monday.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Giannis gets the job done for the Bucks today. Second game we've got today, it's the LA Derby. And I know they don't even call them derbies in the US, but I'm calling it a derby today. And the Clippers, as they should be here, they're favorites, $1.50. The Los Angeles Lakers, $2.68. Lines at 5.5. Total, 225.5. Also live on NBA League Pass. Now, Parky, the Lakers, I think, are going to be terrible this year. They might probably even be a little bit more terrible than they were last year, and they were bad last year. Clippers are the NBA championship favorites. There's been talk, I saw a tweet earlier today, that they might be bringing Kawhi Leonard back very soon. He's going to be coming off the bench, they say. But I think even without Kawhi, the Clippers have too much for the Lakers today.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not going to pick any team in this game. I actually like the total. I like the under total in this one as well as the first game. But I'm just not sure with the Kawhi thing. I know on paper the Clippers look great. They've got John Wall. I think he's probably going to come off the bench as well. Well, he or Kawhi. That's pretty decent to have one of those guys coming off the bench. So I'm not really sure. The Lakers didn't have a great performance, on their opening game on Wednesday. But I just got a feeling this game. Look, there's been a lot of money coming for the over. Actually, it was 224, and it's sort of gone out to 225.5 now. So there's been a bit of money coming for the over, but I actually like the under in this. I just think the Clippers, it's their first game. I know the Lakers played the other day, but the Lakers didn't look that good offensively. They don't have great shooters, but their big three, LeBron, AD, and Russ. I think they're going to get theirs, but I don't think they've got a lot of help there with the Lakers. So, so the play on this game, I think, for me, is the under 225.5.
Yeah, you're right about not having shooters, and LeBron alluded to that fact after the game when they asked him about that loss against the Warriors. Parky, I'm going to give you a triple pick on this one here. I'm going Clippers by 11 points and the under.
Okay, so we agree on the under, but you've got the Clippers
winning by double
plus.
digits.
I'm writing this down, mate, so that we get held accountable.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So Clippers by 11, and I'm taking the under on that one there. So we can, I'm sure you'll let me have it if I'm wrong on Monday morning.
Yeah. No, if gun to my head, I'd pick the Clippers in this one, but I just want to have a look at them and see how they go before I start picking them against the spread.
All right, Parky, we're going to catch you on Monday morning as well, and I'm sure you're going to have a few words for me if I've been wrong about these tips. Enjoy the weekend of basketball, my friend. We'll see you on Monday morning.
No worries. Look forward to it. Have a good weekend.
Likewise. All right, guys, that's been another episode of the Last Shot NBA show right here on Little Birdie TV. As always, brought to you by our mates over there at topsport.com.au. We'll catch you guys Monday morning.